Most people have always assumed that the journey to the West is just a story about gods and demons. But if you read the original novel carefully, you'll notice something strange. The entire journey to fetch the scriptures begins in a way that looks remarkably like a carefully orchestrated campaign. And the person standing at the very top of that campaign may well be the Buddha himself. In chapter 8 of the original novel, the Buddha addresses his assembly at the festival of Wolambana on Vulture Peak. He says, "I have observed the beings of the southern continent. They are greedy, lustful, murderous, and deceitful. A realm of tongues like swords, a sea of slander and sin." Then he offers a solution. "I possess the 3 collections of true scripture, which can persuade people toward goodness." But he doesn't send the scriptures himself. Instead, he asks one question: "Who among you is willing to make the journey?" Guanyin, the bodhisattva of compassion, steps forward immediately. "I am willing to go to the east to find a scripture seeker." And so, the Buddha hands her the cassock, the 9-ringed staff, and 3 golden bands, and sends her east toward the Tang Empire. Up to this point, it all sounds like a typical mythological quest. But what makes it truly fascinating is everything that happens next, because from here on, every single event falls into place just a little too perfectly. After Guanyin departs, the story immediately shifts to an incident involving the Dragon King of the Jing River. In the city of Cheng'an, there is a fortune teller named Yuan Shucheng who can predict exactly where and when fish will appear in the river. The Dragon King is furious. He disguises himself as a scholar and confronts Yuan Shucheng, who then predicts the exact time and amount of the next day's rainfall. The Dragon King laughs this off. After all, rainfall is under his jurisdiction. But when the Jade Emperor's decree arrives, the time and amount match Yuan Shucheng's prediction exactly. Desperate to win, the Dragon King deliberately alters the time and reduces the rainfall. This violates heavenly law. He is sentenced to death by beheading, and the official assigned to carry out the execution happens to be Wei Zheng, Emperor Taizong's most trusted minister. The Dragon King panics. He enters Taizong's dream and begs the emperor to save him. Taizong agrees. The next day, Taizong deliberately keeps Wei Zheng by his side, playing chess, trying to prevent him from leaving. But in the middle of the game, Wei Zheng dozes off at the chessboard. When he wakes up, the Dragon King has already been executed. In his dream, up to this point, the story is merely strange. What comes next is truly terrifying. The Dragon King's ghost refuses to rest. Night after night, it comes to Taizong, demanding his life. "You promised to save me, yet you broke your word. I will take my case against you to the courts of the underworld." From this moment, the atmosphere of the entire story shifts. The mighty emperor of the Tang dynasty, a man who had conquered the known world, begins to fall apart. The original text describes him as gradually losing his spirit, his soul growing restless. Tormented by nightmares, Taizong collapses. His soul leaves his body and enters the realm of the dead. What Taizong sees in the underworld goes far beyond the Dragon King. As he passes through the city of the wrongfully dead, he is swarmed by countless souls, soldiers, civilians, rivals, people killed during his wars of conquest. A dark mass of figures surges toward him, clawing and screaming, "Li Shimin, give us back our lives." This is the man who launched the Xuanwu Gate incident, who personally shot his own brother with an arrow, who climbed to the throne over a mountain of corpses. And in this moment, he finally discovers that some things cannot be buried by power. He could command the world of the living, but before death, he is just another name in the ledger. The Book of Life and Death reads clearly: Emperor Taizong of Tang, 13 years of Zhengguan, a man who controlled an empire, reduced to a single line in the ledger of the King of Hell, a line that could be crossed out at any moment. Judge Gui, out of respect for Taizong's reputation as a just ruler, secretly adds 2 strokes to the character for 1, changing 13 to 33, extending his life by 20 years. But there is a price. After returning to the world of the living, Taizong must hold a grand mass of land and water to deliver all those restless souls from their suffering. Taizong agrees without hesitation because for the first time he realizes that everything he once relied upon, his throne, his armies, his power, cannot solve the problem in front of him. He needs a new answer. After returning to life, he immediately orders a search for the empire's greatest monks and holds a grand mass of unprecedented scale in Chang'an. The monk Xuanzang is chosen to lead the ceremony, and just as the ceremony reaches its most critical moment, someone appears, Guanyin. Disguised as a ragged, scape-covered monk, she suddenly cries out from the crowd, "Your lesser vehicle teachings cannot deliver the dead to salvation. They can only maintain the appearance of piety. I possess the greater vehicle, the 3 collections of true scripture, which can deliver the dead to heaven and save all who suffer." The entire assembly is stunned. Taizong summons her immediately and asks where this greater vehicle can be found. Guanyin answers, "In the west, at the great Thunder Monastery on Vulture Peak, in the land of India." Taizong turns to his court and asks, "Who among you is willing to go west to fetch the scriptures?" The monk Xuanzang kneels and volunteers. "Though I am unworthy, I am willing to undertake this journey for your majesty, to bring back the true scriptures and secure the empire for eternity." This may not have been Wu Cheng'in deliberately writing a blueprint for propaganda, but these events are arranged so tightly that it's hard not to feel as though an invisible hand has been guiding Taizong step by step toward a single destination. And throughout the entire process, no one ever truly forced Taizong to do anything. No one held a blade to his throat. No one demanded he believe in Buddhism. He experienced fear, death, the underworld, the screaming of 1,000 ghosts. And then, on his own, he began searching for an answer. In the end, it was his own voice that asked the question, "Who is willing to go west?" 400 years ago, this story revealed a pattern that remains effective to this day. First, make someone feel fear, then offer them hope. First, let the highest authority experience suffering. Then, at the moment they need an answer most, place the perfect solution in front of them. People search for answers because they are afraid. They crave certainty because they are anxious. They walk willingly into a grand narrative because they need something to believe in. Truly effective influence never tells you, you must believe this. It lets you experience a series of events and then arrive at the conclusion yourself. I need this. Perhaps that is why a myth written 400 years ago still feels so familiar today. Because what it describes is not an ancient legend. It is a pattern of human nature that has never changed.